Hello, I'm Dr. Stickney. Welcome to Ask the Vet Live, presented by Good Charlie Energy. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about the comings and goings at Spay Neuter Network. We will answer some of your questions and we will talk about some interesting facts about our friends, the dogs and the cats. While we're at it, if you happen to live in an area where your energy supplier can be Good Charlie Energy, I would recommend that you go and check them out. You can find a link here on this page. In addition to providing affordable electricity to you, they also give you free pet perks. Which include emergency veterinary care, access to their online pharmacy, and every month they will donate to organizations that provide benefits and health services to dogs and cats, and Spay Neuter Network is one of those. So if you want to go check that out and see if that's something that would fit for you, go to their website, which you can find on our page here. So this is February, and we have a lot of things going on at Spay Neuter Network this month. First off, February is Spay Neuter Awareness Month, and this is one of our favorite months here at Spay Neuter Network because it's one of our biggest things that we are all about is spaying and neutering dogs and cats, helping to prevent pet overpopulation, and making our furry friends healthier because of that procedure. So if you have not had your pet spayed or neutered, this is a great month to do it while you're thinking about it. And we are able to provide that service to you and to your pets at a very affordable price. February is also National Cat Health Month. So if you are a cat owner, this is a time to think about the things that we need to do for our cats to help keep them healthy and happy and live the longest, best life that they can while they're in our home. February is also Responsible Pet Owner Month. So this catches you whether you own a cat or a dog or both because it's Responsible Pet Owner Month. And this is a time during the month, during the year, to think about what it is that you need to do to be the best owner and pet parent to your dog or cat that you can be. So lots of things, lots of big events and things to think about during February. Overall, specifically at Spay Neuter Network, we have a few things going on this month, and all of the things that I'm going to tell you about, you can find all of the details on our website at spayneuternet.org. So don't feel like you have to be scribbling anything down right now, because you can always go back and look at the details. But tomorrow, February 6th, is Free Fix for Community Cats and Feral Cats at Dallas Animal Services. So if you are in an area where there are feral or community cats roaming around, tomorrow they can have their spay and neuter procedure performed for free at Dallas Animal Services. So check out the details there at our website to find out more about that. February 14, Happy Valentine's Day. On February 14, because we love our cats and feral cats so much, there is a free and low-cost fix for community cats and feral cats at the Spay Neuter Network Fort Worth Clinic. So tomorrow, we can take care of those community cats at Dallas Animal Services. On Valentine's Day, you can bring those community and feral cats to our Spay Neuter Network Fort Worth Clinic, and we can do their spay and their neuter completely free and help control the number of community cats and feral cats in your area. We also have a couple of upcoming free vaccine clinics. At these vaccine clinics, we will be giving free parvo distemper vaccines for dogs and free FVRCP combo vaccines for cats. And these are both very important vaccines for our dogs and our cats. The parvo distemper vaccine will help protect your pet from two devastating diseases, parvovirus, which can cause many, many puppies that catch it to die. It is a very serious viral disease. And distemper is also another very serious viral disease that can cause them to develop deadly pneumonia and, in some cases, neurologic disease and seizures. So, having them protected by vaccination is a great thing to do. If you own a cat, and remember it is Cat Health Month, the FVRCP vaccine protects cats from numerous upper respiratory viral diseases that they can catch that can make their lives just absolutely miserable. So it will be a great time to get these vaccines for free at our upcoming vaccine clinics. Both of these are on February 15, so Valentine's Day weekend, February 15. You can go to the free vaccine clinic at the Fort Worth Animal Care and Control location. And if you are in San Antonio, we will be at Father Benavides Park on February 15 for that free vaccine clinic. So please take advantage of those if your pets are in need of their vaccines. If it's coming up that time for their yearly vaccines, please come out and see us, and you will be able to get those vaccines for free. All right. So we have had a few questions that have come in prior to the broadcast. So let me go ahead and address those, and then we'll see what other kinds of questions we have coming in as we go. So the first question is, when should my pet get blood work done? That's a great question. Blood work is an important thing to do for our pets, and it is not necessarily completely inexpensive. There is a cost associated with that. So you want to do it when you need to do it, and you want to not have to do it if you don't have to. So when should you get your blood work done? For cats and dogs, we consider them to be senior citizens at 7 years of age. So once a dog or a cat is 7 years old, we are going to recommend yearly blood work for them just to take a look at things. The older pets get, the older people get, the more likely that is that things will start to go wrong inside your body. And catching problems like kidney disease or liver disease early rather than later is always a good thing, because there are preemptive things that we can do to help slow the progression of any of those diseases. So once you're 7 years old, if you're a dog or a cat, we will recommend having yearly blood work done. The other time to have blood work done on your pet is going to be whenever there is something wrong with them, they are sick and they are not responding well to some initial therapies, to some of the most common things that we might use to treat whatever their problem is. If those aren't working, then it's time to take a look at some blood work and see what's going on. Doing blood work is like getting a little window inside of their body and seeing how all of the organs that we are unable to see are functioning and doing, and it can give us a lot of information in the best way to go forward with your pet. Now, having your pet tested for heartworms every year is a completely different thing. We want to do that. We want to test we want to test our dogs for heartworm disease yearly to make sure that we are doing great on our heartworm preventative, and that we haven't had any sort of a lapse or any type of a problem with that heartworm preventative doing its job, and making sure that they're completely protected. So once again, if you this is one of those things where you want to catch it early rather than later. If you did have a dog that had contracted heartworm disease, the sooner that can be treated, the better you are, because heartworms will go and they grow and develop in the heart and the blood vessels around the heart, and that can cause the heart to have to work harder and eventually can cause them to go into heart failure. So if we do have a pet that turns out to be positive for heartworm disease, the sooner we can treat that animal and kill those worms, the better off they will be. So blood work every year if we're a senior pet over 7, blood work if we are sick and just not getting better, and yearly heartworm tests to make sure that we are protected against heartworms, which are spread by mosquitoes. The weather is already starting to warm up, even though it's only February, and even though the groundhog said we would have 6 more weeks of winter. So I got bit by a mosquito working in the yard over the weekend. So the mosquitoes are already out and hungry. So we want to make sure our pets are on heartworm preventative every month. All right, another question. Is bathing my dog every day too much? And the answer is yes. Dogs do not need to be bathed every month. The general rule of thumb is that we want to bathe them once a week, maybe twice a week if they are especially dirty for some reason. But once a week is plenty. Bathing them more often than that can cause their skin to dry out and make them start to be itchy and develop dandruff. And then what we thought was being good for them by keeping them nice and clean in that shiny coat is actually causing them some discomfort and itchiness. So once a week for bathing our dogs. And it's important to remember that we want to use a dog shampoo, not human shampoo for that. Dogs have a different pH level in their skin than people do, and people's shampoo, human shampoo, can be very drying on their skin as well. So we want to use a shampoo that's developed and made specifically for the skin and hair coat of dogs. Is raw food okay for my dogs and cats? You can look on the internet and you will find spots where it will say raw food is the greatest thing that's ever been fed to an animal, and I am going to completely disagree with that, and I am going to say that dogs and cats should not be fed raw food. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Number one is that you wouldn't go yourself and eat a raw piece of chicken or a raw piece of meat because you would get sick. There would be bacteria living in that piece of meat that your body is not used to, and you could become very, very ill from that. The same is true for our dogs and cats. Every month there are dogs that develop bacterial diseases like salmonella by eating raw meat, and those animals will develop severe vomiting and diarrhea and become very sick, and some of them will die despite best efforts at treating them because their body is simply overwhelmed by these bacteria. So we do not want to feed raw food to our dogs and cats because there is the risk not only of bacterial contamination and illness to those pets, but also to the people that are handling that food as well. Secondly, it is very hard for a raw food diet to be completely nutritionally balanced for our dogs and cats. Protein is only one component of what animals need in their food. There are carbohydrates and fats that they require. There are vitamins and minerals they require, like calcium and phosphorus and vitamin C. And all of these are going to not be present in a raw food diet where you just put together some raw ingredients and give them to your dog. So I do not think raw food is a good thing to feed your pets. You want to feed them a commercially prepared dog food that is nutritionally balanced for their life stage, and you will not have to go to the extra effort of procuring and feeding them the raw food, and you know that they will be getting everything that they need in order to live their best, happiest life. So I will say no to raw food being okay for dogs and cats. Feed them something that you can buy at the store. Now, you can also get at the store. They've got now the cooler section where they have the food that comes in tubes, like it looks like a sausage tube, and it's all of these fresh foods. That is totally different from raw food. That is perfectly fine to feed your pet. Those diets have been specifically developed by veterinarians to be balanced for your pet. So those things are fine. But just to go to the grocery store and buy some ingredients and put something together for your pet and say this is their raw food diet is not going to be what is best for them and their life. Another question: how often should I walk my dog? Dogs like to get walked usually once a day. And a good rule of thumb is to start at about a 10 or 15-minute walk every day. Now, this is going to vary based on the temperature and the weather. You don't want to, if the sidewalks and the streets are frozen solid, that's not a good time to walk your dog. Somebody's going to slip and get hurt. In my case, it would probably be me and not the dog, but dogs can also have the dog equivalent of twisting their ankle and pulling a muscle and things like that. We also want to be careful about walking our dogs when it's too hot. We're not there yet, but that is something to keep in mind as well, that we don't want them to burn their feet on the pavement. And if we have a dog that is a brachycephalic breed, which means that they have the really cute punched in noses like Shih Tzus and Boston Terriers and Pugs, you want to be very careful about walking them and having them not be overheated, because they cannot exchange air as they pant as well as dogs that have long snouts. But starting with a 10 to 15-minute walk and seeing how your dog tolerates that is a great place to start. And if they're good and they want to keep going and it's not too hot and you're feeling good, you can go longer than that. I have one of my dogs at home that is just is a high octane, lots of energy dog. And that dog, we walk him twice a day, 30 minutes at a time. And he still has energy to burn, but that's all the time I have to walk him. Another thing to think about, to consider when we walk our dogs, is that not only is it good exercise for them and for us, but there's a lot of stimulation for your dog when they go for a walk. They're smelling all kinds of things that we don't even notice that are very interesting and exciting to them. They're seeing lots of things that we probably don't even notice that they find fascinating. It really kind of helps them to broaden their dog minds and really get some interesting things going on that can be mentally stimulating for them, and that's good for a dog too, so that it doesn't get bored. So walking your dogs once a day, start there, and then you can go from there. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? All right. It's a note about good Charlie energy, cutting your energy costs, unlocking pet perks, and rescue animals with their electricity plans. That is all very true and very important, and really something to think about. While we are waiting for some questions to come in, let me come back to it being Spay Neuter Awareness Month and talk about some of the health benefits and some of the things to debunk and keep in mind with having your pet spayed and neutered. And before we start that, here's a question. Is it bad that my dog's paws smell like Fritos? Mine do too, so no. No, that is not bad. That is just from natural bacteria and small amounts of yeast that grow between their paw pads, and that is normal. That is nothing to worry about. You do want to be concerned if their paws are irritated and red, or if they are constantly licking their paws. That is a problem, and that's something that you would want to get checked out. In those cases, they could have a bacterial or yeast overgrowth on their paws. That's kind of the dog version of athlete's foot. Or if they're licking their paws all the time, that's a sign of allergies in dogs. People get itchy eyes and runny noses. Dogs get itchy ears and itchy paws. So that is an indication that you'll want to go see a veterinarian as well. And but for the pet's paws to just smell like Fritos, no, that is okay, because my dachshund's paws smell like Fritos as well. So not a problem there. And remember that if you are a member of Good Charlie Energy, you have 24/7 access to a veterinarian all the time through their energy plans. So, if you've got a question and, oh, shoot, it's not time for Ask the Vet Live with Dr. Stickney, you have access through them to talk with a veterinarian anytime about any kind of questions you might have. Great question. So, having your dogs or cats spayed and neutered is one of the best things that you can do, not only for their health, but for the health of the community as well. If we let one dog and all of its puppies breed uncontrolled, In 6 years, we will have 78,000 dogs running around. And that is just from one dog and all of the puppies that it makes, and then those puppies going on to breed. So there's exponential growth there. And in the case of cats, the numbers are almost the same. One cat and all of its kittens that are allowed to breed makes 76,000 cats in 6 years. So that is a lot of extra cats and dogs without homes. And being a stray dog or a stray cat is no walk in the park as far as your life goes. You're always looking for water, you're always looking for food, you're running into wildlife that could hurt you, you're running into other animals that could hurt you, you're at risk of getting hit by cars. We see those every day when we're driving down the road. So helping to control that animal population is a very, very good thing we can do. As far as the health benefits of having our dogs spayed or neutered, there are several. In the case of the female dogs and having them spayed, it reduces the chances of them developing several cancers, including mammary cancer, which is one of the most common cancers of dogs that are not spayed. And it also prevents them from developing a very serious condition called a pyometra, which is an infection that they get in their uterus, and that can actually cause them to die. It can be very serious. And when we have a dog that has a pyometra and becomes sick, what was once a very reasonable spay fee to pay to have them spayed is now going to be likely in the thousands of dollars. So this is one of these things where, getting it done ahead of time before something goes wrong is a great thing to do. In the case of the male dogs, having them neutered will help reduce the chances of different behavioral problems like aggression, territoriality, marking behavior. That's especially important with our cats. You want to spay them, you want to neuter that male cat before he starts deciding he's going to spray and mark your house, because that is a smell that is hard to get out. So it will help with that. It will also prevent them from developing an enlarged prostate. And it will also, if we have them neutered, they can't ever develop testicular cancer because they don't have those anymore. So those are very good reasons to do that. Sometimes you'll encounter people who say that I really want them to have a litter of puppies first, that we think that's good for them to do. We've read that's good for them to do. And then we have cute little puppies that we can find homes for. And those are things that you should think twice about doing. And the reasons are that there is no medical evidence whatsoever that shows that having a litter of puppies is a better thing for a female dog than having them spayed. It does not have any changes in their health status. It does not have any increase in their lifespan. And all it really does, though, is create more puppies, an average of 5 to 6 puppies per litter. And the puppies are cute. And, everyone likes the puppies, but the puppies grow up and the puppies need homes. And even if you find a home for those puppies, there's no guarantee that the person that takes that dog is going to have it spayed or neutered. And you now kind of can perpetuate that pet overpopulation problem with that one dog that can eventually lead to 78,000 other dogs. So no benefit to having a dog have a litter before it's spayed. There's no reason to do that. We don't want to do that. Sometimes people are concerned about the male dog getting neutered and, oh no, he's going to lose his manhood and he's going to be a different dog. And that is just a human conceit. That is that the dog doesn't know that it has testicles. It doesn't care that it has testicles. Doesn't miss them if they're gone. Never really paid attention. Yeah, he may go back there and lick them, but he doesn't think I'm a big tough male dog. He doesn't think that. All he's going to do is keep living his life just like he always did it, but now he's going to have just a less of a desire to get into fights, to go and roam around the neighborhood, to go and seek out female dogs and get them bred and now make more dogs, which again, we're talking about how we don't want that to happen here during when by getting our pets spayed and neutered. So um, there's no reason not to neuter your male dog. He's not gonna miss anything. He's not a human. He doesn't have those concerns. So don't let that be something that discourages you from having it done. And another thing to think about is that there's a lot of concern about pets behavior changing, or that they will suddenly gain weight, and that is not going to happen. The animals get overweight when we are feeding them too much and not giving them enough exercise. So, every animal needs to be fed a certain amount, a measured amount of food each day. I've got my dogs, two of my dogs at home will eat until the bag is totally empty if I let them. And then they would be, big, obese, walking coffee table kind of dogs. And that's not good for them. Dogs that are a good body weight, not overweight, live an average of 2 to 3 years longer than dogs that are at an ideal body weight. So we want them to not be just filling up that food bowl all the time. We want to have them eat a measured amount of dog food so that we know how much they're eating, and when it's gone, it's gone. And sure, they might act like they're still hungry, but they have the right amount of calories in them that they need. So having your dog spayed or neutered is not in and of itself going to make them fat dogs, and it's also not going to change their personalities. They're going to be the same dog that they always were. They're just going to not feel like they have to go roam around, that they have to uh, be aggressive toward other animals, that they have to seek out animals to breed with. So it's just taking a few things off of their mind, not changing their personality at all. And those things aren't really on their mind; they're just hormonally driven. They don't really care that they're doing it. It just is it's nature at work. So those aren't going to be problems. There's also evidence that shows that dogs that are spayed or neutered live a significantly longer period of time than dogs that are not. They are less prone to dying of infection. They're less prone to dying of traumatic things like fights or hit by cars, because they're not doing that roaming. Here's a question that's come in through email: how fat is too fat for a dog? A great question. Okay, so what we do is we use a thing that's called uh, a a body score, where we're looking at them, and it gets kind of detailed and technical, but here's the bottom line: is that with your dog, you want to be able to pet them on their side and easily feel their ribs, not see their ribs, but be able to feel their ribs without having to push through a layer of fat. So, I don't want to be able to see their ribs when they're just walking around. That's too skinny. But I want to be able to pet their chest, and I can feel those ribs right there under their skin without having to push through a layer of subcutaneous fat. When I look at my dog from the top down, so I'm like standing over them looking down at them, they should look like an oblong hourglass. They should be kind of thicker at the chest area, narrow down the waist, and then flare back out at their hips again. So kind of like a little hourglass. And if they just look like two straight lines, then they're putting on too much weight and they need to lose a little bit of weight. When you are getting a dog food and getting ready to feed your dog, you're going to see a chart on the bag that says feed your dog this much, and it looks like a whole lot. What you want to do with there'll be a range of, say my dog weighs 30 pounds, feed him 2 to 4 cups. Always start at the low end of that range, and then you can adjust from there based on how your pet is doing, and that way they won't get overfed and we want them to maintain that lean body weight. Just like with us, just like with me, once the weight's on, it's harder to get it off than if you never had it in the first place. So we want to have them be at that ideal weight as much as possible, and it's real easy to tweak things early on versus trying to adjust them later and put them on some type of a diet. It has been great talking with everybody today. Thank you for joining Spay Neuter Network's Ask the Vet Live in collaboration with Good Charlie Energy. Remember to check out the links in the caption for free access to chat with licensed vets anytime, a discount pharmacy, and to leave any questions for our next live. We'll post our links in the comments to all the things that we talked about today. And please take care, and we will talk with you again next month.